haven't seen Rudy in a while, and can I just say kudos to Jake Tapper, who he's a little hit and miss, but one of his hits recently was when he had Jamie Comer on, or was it Comer? I don't think it was. It was somebody. He did have Comer on, but he had somebody else on. Anyways, they were talking about the Hunter Biden laptop idea, and he was like, we wanted to see the laptop. We wanted to see the whole hard drive, and Rudy wouldn't give it to us. Rudy wouldn't let us have it. He would only send us like printouts of shit. We couldn't verify it or check it out. We asked for it, and there was like a day and a half when you couldn't see it on, like conversations about it on Shitter. And the New York Post story about it turned out to be a complete work of fiction. But that was the point. That's what an October surprise is for, is dump something into the public zeitgeist so it starts funneling through the news cycle, and by the time people figure out it's bullshit, or it doesn't have the weight that you originally presented it as, or that it was manufactured, or it's not exactly it's misinformation or disinformation in either form. Well, I guess technically if you're putting it in there as disinformation, but other people would be furthering the misinformation. They're batting it forward because it's in line with their cul-de-sac of beliefs. In those situations, that an October surprise only works in that context. If you release that shit in June or April, people can look it up and go, oh, this is all bullshit. So, speaking of, this is all bullshit, Rudy Giuliani, and I like the title of this one, I have to say, Giuliani, Biden and Ray keep me up at night. Yeah, you look like you haven't slept. And also, Ray is a Trump appointee. Christopher Wray was appointed by Trump. Christopher Wray is a Trump appointee. He got out Comey and he replaced him with Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray is a Trump appointee. He's appointed by Trump. I don't know what to fucking tell you.
I've never seen a time where all the threats, or so many of the threats, are all elevated all at exactly the same time.
Would you say that there's multiple blinking red lights out there?
I see blinking lights everywhere I turn.
Yeah, that's kind of his job as the head of the FBI too.
And that is.
Oh my God, I don't know what it was, but I was almost like prepared for Rudy, and then that caught me off guard. That I didn't. I'm sorry about that. I hope you guys okay. That one got me.
Is a grim new warning out from the FBI Director Christopher Wray that America is now in the highest threat environment due to our very dangerous open southern border and some very bad actors overseas.
Yeah, that's why. He was talking about domestic threats, by the way. So
joining us now is the former New York City mayor.
God damn, 2 jump scares in a row.
There he is, my friend, the great Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor. You know, Rudy, before we get to what Ray said, I want to get your take, of course, about every.
And of course, before that police car that's pulling up at your building carries you away.
Everything that happened with Hunter Biden, because I know that you have been calling for charges to be brought for some time. Do you believe, first off, that the wheels of justice are finally turning against?
I have to speak very loudly because I can hear the alarm in the background. Can you hear that? Can someone please fix that?
The Biden family.
I don't. I believe this indictment is a sucker indictment. Let's face it.
Isn't Rudy Italian? I don't know. Maybe he's doing it as a show of support, doing the whole put your menorah in the window as a show of support. That's fine.
An enormous amount of money. He's being charged for what he spent. He's not being charged for how he received it.
Right, because it's not a crime.
How he received it is the biggest scandal in American history.
Yeah, but scandals aren't crimes.
It's being covered up.
No, it's not. We know precisely where the money came from.
All that money, or much of it, came from enemies of the United States.
You mean the one that Trump had dinner with the leader of that country, and his daughter suddenly got a bunch of trademarks to make money off of, or are you talking about the country that Trump had meetings with the leader with no note takers present and only their translators, and came out looking like he just had a colonoscopy? That country, or
Red China?
Red China,
Ukraine,
as opposed to the um, was it like magenta China while Trump was blowing smoke up Xi's ass?
A diplomat who was pro-Russian, by the way,
Sorry, run that again.
a Ukrainian diplomat who was pro-Russian, by the way, a pro-Putin diplomat. No one makes that point.
Who are we talking about?
And from the wife of one of the mayor of Moscow, one of Putin's
That was for Devin Archer.
closest allies.
No, the mayor was until he got busted for corruption, and then he ended up. What happens to people who are corrupt and caught and are trying to squeeze money out of Vladimir Putin's pocket? What happens to those folks in general? I don't remember.
So the bulk of that money is bribery money for the vice president of the United States to
It's bribery money. I agree.
sell out this country.
And by doing what?
And you can look
By supporting Ukraine. If the diplomat, work with me on this one, because you dropped this diplomat is pro-Russia. If the diplomat that paid him is pro-Russia, then why would Biden be backing Ukraine this whole time? You're better off saying it's just old-fashioned, like the Ukrainians are trying to leverage a politician for their own protection. But then that makes him like he was already in support of Ukraine. So I guess that fucks with the whole thing. Also, the mayor of Moscow's wife, again, was married to one of Putin's allies who ended up dead because you're an ally until you're not. And that money went to Devin Archer. Also, the guy, Yi Jianming, who gave $5 million to Hunter Biden as seed money for this bigger deal that never actually came off, also bought a Trump Tower apartment for $5 million and never set foot in it.
look to the favors that Biden then did. For example,
Okay.
the woman that gave the 3.5 million is one of the top oligarchs in Russia. She's the only one not sanctioned.
Under Trump?
5 times by Joe Biden. Now, he's had dinner with her twice. But of course, the crooked press never points that out.
Yeah, I'd like to see a picture. I feel like you're just making that shit up. That he's had dinner with her twice. Is she his side piece? Also, she's not an oligarch. Her husband was, and he's dead.
This case is not about him paying taxes, not paying taxes, whatever.
Yeah, it is. It's only about that.
This is about selling out the United States, really for 30 years. And Hunter says it best, and it's left out of the indictment.
And you
Oh, the whole, like, do you have to give me your money, the same shit, the same 3 fucking, again, 416 gigabytes of information on the fucking hard drive that Rudy was fucking slathering all over the goddamn place. And we're going to go back to 3 fucking iMessages?
you are right, Rudy, that
No, I like Judy. Judy
It's
Giuliani.
left out of the indictment.
and you
Hunter, in
are
December-
right, Judy.
That's right. You are right, Judy. Judy.
Rudy, that you
Rudy.
look at no
Fresh and
FARA, no foreign agent lobbying,
Whoever
no
left
money
out.
laundering. Those statutes expired, as you know. So is this just to sort of save face for David Weiss, or what is this about real quick?
Oh, sure. This is to escape jail for David Weiss. I mean, David Weiss has fixed the case, just like Comey did before him. And they
for Trump, you
all
mean?
do it because nobody's ever held accountable. Comey should have been prosecuted 4 years ago for fixing the Hillary Clinton case.
For fixing the Hillary Clinton case. Oh, you mean by not finding enough grounds to bust her and not just making some shit up?
She was guilty as sin.
Judy, come on.
I mean, fixing cases used to be a serious crime when I was a prosecutor.
Yeah, but you managed to dodge it. And by the way, how much did the Russians and the Chinese pay you for that?
Now, I mean, everybody in the Justice Department does it.
Yeah, it's right. It's standard. Like I guess that was the big change that Trump made.
And look, they have the Republican candidate for president ready to go on trial in 4 places.
Right. For the record, 6. But you're only talking about the indictments. He's also got other personal. This motherfucker was engaged in like a multi-level marketing scheme with these fucking video phones on The Apprentice.
All of them with Democrat DAs, all of them in crooked Democratic cities.
Right. Which, for the record, is also where all the money, coffee, sex, and conversation is.
Except the federal case.
Yeah, that's a good point.
For things that are not even crimes. And we can't bring.
Oh, you mean like his scandals?
A charge against Biden.
You know,
And
Rudy,
I'm
you're
talking
right.
about President Biden,
You're
about
right. There
which
sure
are
seems to
1,000
be.
individual pieces
No, you guys should talk over each other. This is good. I was about to say for a second, this sounds like shit, but I take it back. It's great.
of evidence that he committed the biggest bribe in the history of the United States. Also, the biggest bribe in the history of Ukraine.
Well, and also, Rudy, the
Zelensky is
double
covering up
standards.
The bribe to his president.
I agree with you. There does seem to be clearly a double standard.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. What was the bribe for? Seriously. I mean, if you're gonna accuse him of getting anything but like a gift from somebody, which again, the $5 million is made up. Honest to God, literally, it's what Zlochevsky paid he paid $5 million in cash to a tax guy in Ukraine to try and like do an end run around a lot of the charges on him. He tried to bribe this guy with $5 million cash. That's the story that they carried, and then they basically reworked the emails to make it Biden, whatever. That's fine. I don't give a shit. You could sell this, but my question is, what'd they get in exchange?
The way all of this is working. I want to make sure we also get to the other topic.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you could stay on this all night
because we have so many important things.
Yeah, so many important things, way more important
With
than
you this morning.
Sure.
The FBI's also stark warning, Rudy. You know this all too well. As the mayor of New York on 9/11, and you did.
9/11. That's true. He's also he was also the mayor who had the great idea after the bombing at the World Trade Center to move the response headquarters, the Office of Emergency Response, into the trade centers, like basically right where the bombing happened.
Such an amazing job during, I think, one of the
amazing. It's so amazing, because most people would have just shit the bed and cried and not said anything.
most horrific times, obviously, in America. What goes through your mind? And the reason this week.
I'm going to say not a lot.
We hit a historic high, and it's not something to be bragging about. 12,000 migrant encounters on our southern border.
Yeah,
it's the biggest
worse yet.
one-day high. How worried are you?
Well, they're very brown, these people.
Not only am I worried, when I see Christopher Wray there, I say to myself, we have no defense. I mean, if you
The fuck does Christopher Wray have to do with it? He's not the head of the fucking Border Patrol.
think he's the head of the FBI, you got one thing. I've seen heads of FBI. This guy is a
What?
complete crook.
Hold on. Christopher Wray is, quote, a complete crook, and he's not the head of the FBI. And this has to do with the border, like how?
I mean, he should have been working on this 3 years ago. And he still won't say why it happens. It happens because Biden invites him in.
Really? Does he mail out? Do they get it in the mail? Is it a card? What do they have to? Do they get a special like coupon?
Biden has the door open like this. We don't even make an attempt to stop the terrorists from coming in to bomb us. And
Also, yeah, he's using an SM58. Is that a 58 there? I don't know why. It's very strange. Looks like it. It's hard to tell. But if it's wide open, what's this shit? And why are they lined up to be processed? Also, it's Judy.
this flunky of Biden.
This flunky of Biden. Wow. It must have been, I can't imagine. Can you imagine how Biden felt when he was thinking about running for office? He's like, I'm not sure if I'll run. Wait, excuse me. Trump just appointed one of my flunkies? I'm definitely running now.
Tells us that the lights are going off all over the place. Hey, crook, those lights were going off 3 years ago.
During the Trump administration?
Maybe you could have done something about it then. But if something happens in this country, it is right on him and Biden.
Again, these people are standing single file. I gotta say, you might want to just pick other footage. I know there's footage of people sneaking through the wall, and I know there's footage of people like, caravans south of there, whatever. But I just gotta say, especially when you're on the fucking Mexico side of the wall, which they are.
Because what they could have done 3 years ago, they didn't do. They let the Taliban come in, they let ISIS, whatever remains of it, come in, and now they're letting the new ones come in. And
The new ones. Well, I mean, they already let the Taliban and the ISIS.
Iran
folks
has
come
a
in.
straight passage into New York. And 3/4 of the Chinese that come into New York are wearing suits, and they're military-age men.
What? Well, they're not wearing like officers' uniforms, are they?
And the Chinese are not spying on us, and they own our president. And that guy, who's the FBI director, has covered that up for 4 years. Now,
4 years. Hold on. So for 4 years, military-age Chinese people have been crossing even during COVID. And why did Trump look the other way? Was it the trade deal? It was because was it phase 1 or phase 2?
that's a crime.
I honestly don't know what the fuck he's talking
You know,
about.
it is amazing.
It is amazing that you can just kind of conflate 5 different things into one sentence, and this lady's just like, okay.
As you just talked about the Chinese, I was saying, I think it's last year, it's been 26,000 Chinese, also many from Syria, many from Iraq.
Chinese people from Syria and Iraq?
Many from a lot of these countries that we are deeply concerned about. Rudy, what keeps you up at night now? Is it the lone
Because you obviously look like you haven't been sleeping.
wolf? Is it someone from Hamas? Is it internal? What is it? Because, you know, the one thing I thought was stunning, and we just heard it from Director Wray, he's saying that is all these blinking lights all at the same time, and he's never sort of seen it. As you know all too well, sometimes it's in one or two directions. Now
never
it's like
seen
a
it?
fire alarm, and that's scary
Well, then
for
he should
America.
quit. If he's never seen it, he should quit. He could have seen it 3 years ago.
Well, there again, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, what the Russians are doing, driving some of the people who are coming to the border, and specifically, and who aren't dangerous themselves, but are creating stacking the numbers. But whatever.
I can assure you, if I were there as Attorney General or Director,
Trump would still be in office, and we'd have suspended habeas corpus, and we'd have martial law.
of the FBI, this would not be going on. I'll also assure you, if any honest, reasonable, sensible person were there, and not a crook, it wouldn't
How is Ray a fucking crook? What? Again, Trump
be
appointee.
going on. This is a direct result of having a criminal for president, a career criminal for president, and
Oh, you mean the guy that? You mean Trump, because he's the guy that put Ray in office.
up for FBI director who has fixed more cases. I mean, the guy shouldn't even be allowed on television. He keeps me up at night because we don't.
Wait a minute, you're for the suspension of freedom of speech? Like he shouldn't be allowed on television on the American airways? So you want to suspend the First Amendment? Interesting.
don't have an adequate defense against this. We are defenseless. They have plenty on their side, but with a demented president
Do they? Who's they again?
and an FBI director who's covered up some of the biggest crimes in the history of the country.
Well, if obviously, I guess he gave Trump a head start.
Who's defending us?
Well, that is a very scary premise.
Yeah, it's very scary. And now tell her about your court cases.
Rudy, as you bring up, boy, are we vulnerable with all of these different elements.
These elements. And by elements, I mean brown people.
Rudy, thank you very much, America's
Thank
mayor.
you.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for coming in here and making us all sweat and stare at the ceiling, worrying about brown people crawling through our window and hitting us with hammers. Okay.
Rudy. We always appreciate it.
We do. It's so fun. Now, next up, let's just move on. Anyways, it's horrible and the world is falling apart and Joe Biden is in charge and Trump will never be president again. And I'm in a personal hell. Hello. Jesus Christ.